Hello everybody, I'm Face and welcome back to another Loomian Legacy video. Did I say that right? I'm gonna hope so. Anyway, today I'm just going to be giving my initial thoughts on all of the new Loomians added with the whole Route 4, Route 5 update. It's not going to be as in-depth as the first PvP analysis I did that was like 2 hours long. I don't know enough about these because we just got the update, and so just first thoughts, what I think they can do. So here we go. I got them all leveled up to 40 just so I could see their full move sets, but that's and I know their abilities, but that's the extent of my knowledge. I don't know like TP spreads or anything. So I'll just go in Lumipedia order. First we have Gasproke. Being a plant type, it's iffy on the defensive side. It has plenty of resists, but it also has a lot of weaknesses. So it has Ungracious Host, which is a nice little anti-Swolder and Terrafly thing when they try and use Parasitize. So you kind of nuke their health when they nuke you because your base defense is 35, so you die to pretty much any physical hit. It has high health and range defense though, so it'll soak up Zulong hits for days, no problem. So I could see it being a special wall, definitely. People will be using it to soak up hits from like Luminami. If anybody decides to use Sachi or Shachi. What else here? Pretty much nothing else here. But Luminami, Luxor, Valkyrie, except it learns Cyclone Slam, so that'll actually nuke it pretty hard. But yeah, it'll soak up special hits. Or ranged hits, so Zulong, Luminami, Luxor, those kinds of things. Oh yeah, it also has it has poison like Swolder does, so it can inflict toxic on stuff. And it has photosynthesis, which if you play Pokemon, it's just synthesis. So it has a healing move, and it has Spiky Shield. So that's cool. It has some things it could do, but overall, it's kind of, it's good, but it's also extremely exploitable, which makes it bad. So like, it'll work, but it also won't work. So yeah, basically the theme of this update is everything has very exploitable weaknesses. So there you go. So moving on, we're just going to go to Wikiwiki. It's the evolved form of Kabunga. It's also a plant type. So, same thing as Gasproke. Its abilities are pretty much all doubles based, except its hidden abilities, Nauseous Weeds, which is basically a plant type Flash Fire, which is, I mean, immunity is nice, but kind of useless on this thing because it's not offensive in the slightest. It's a balloon. It's got 152 HP and defenses are not that much. So it's a balloon, but its moveset's crazy. It has Wonder Herb, which is aromatherapy. It has Health Gift, Energy Gift. Those are both healing wish variants that restore health and energy respectively. It also gets poison, and it also gets photosynthesis. So it has some options, but it's also really passive. Like it has no offensive stats, and it learns like one offensive move that Kabunga doesn't learn. Kabunga. But yeah, it's a support and it's really passive. It could also take a hit if you were to invest in its defenses, like 200, 100. But it's passive. It's not doing anything back. I mean, this isn't much better, but at least it has some offense. Next up we have Chartiki, Plant Fire, the typing everybody wants in Pokemon. It's the other evolved form of Kabunga. Kabunga, hi cat. Oh my goodness. Come on up here if you're gonna do that. Anyway. Yeah, it's Plant Fire, other form of Kabunga. It also has a double oriented ability, but that's just because Kabunga does. But it also gets territorial, I think. Yeah. And then again, Nauseous Weeds. So it's offensive. It has 103 ranged attack, and again, no defenses, and even less health. So if this thing is blown, like if you blow air on it, it's going to die. Well, actually it's weak to air, so I guess that would kill it. But it has two very strong moves in Fire Breath and Nature's Force, so there you go. It also has Photosynthesis and Fire Block, Spiky Shield. So what this can do, I'm gonna go over this later, but this thing is really bulky, water type. Luminami here, really bulky, water type. It's a grass or plant type, so it hits that. And then you have Gasproke and Wikiwiki, bulky plant types. It nukes them both. So there you go. It can be used for that, but it's also really slow, so it's like easy to revenge kill and all that stuff. It's slower than Seer Knight, which sucks. But yeah, it's just an offensive. It has a good stab combo. Plant Fire seems really good at the moment, but unfortunate speed and no bulk. But like unprepared teams are definitely going to be hurt by it. Anyway, Shocky, this is basically my spirit animal. This thing right here. It's a mine type, but it was treated like the Pika clone rodent of this game. Those base stats are super underwhelming. So yeah, don't expect it to be in any top tier matches. It's just a dex filler. But the reason I say that is because its hidden ability is actually called like Sharp Focus or something. It makes any move that's not already 100% accurate up to 100% accuracy. Like this move, Foul Chant right here, is 90 strength, 70 accuracy. It would become 100% accurate for 10% more energy, so it'd probably be like 49, 50 energy, depending on how they round energy costs. So that's neat. You know how I miss everything that's not 100% accurate? This thing fixes it all. Too bad this is the only move it gets that is actually inaccurate. And actually, the only one, it's one of two mind moves it gets, the other one being Brainwash, and that's all it gets in terms of range moves. That's it. So bad stats, bad moves, it's just not good. But yay, I won't miss if I were to use it and then faint, because if you look again at these base stats, 61 health, 42 defense, 64 range defense. Ripperoni. Anyway, moving on to Sedimars, what I believe to be the most threatening thing of the new update. It's an earth type, so it's competing with Borok there. It has Clutch, which is basically sturdy, and it also has Hasty, which is hustle, and then its hidden ability is like Lazy, which makes it move last every turn. So don't use it. Don't use Lazy. Anyway, it's bulkier than Borok and has less attack than Borok and less speed. But it also has Hasty, which increases your attack by 1.5 times and makes your average accuracy around 80% if it's the same as Hustle from Pokemon. I can't make too many assumptions here, but so that gives this a nice attack boost despite, you know, this lackluster number. But what's really nice about this thing is you see Earthquake here. So yeah, that's already a plus. Earthquake is amazing. You know from Pokemon, it was so good that they had to nerf it in Loomian Legacy. Had to. So yeah, it gets Earthquake and Raging Tackle, and if you don't know, Earth plus typeless coverage in this game is completely unresisted except by one typing, Metal Flying, or Metal Air. And well, nothing has that yet, so it has unresisted coverage at the moment. But that's still not what makes it good, because even with Hasty, it's not hitting too hard, because 88 melee attack. But what it does get, it gets the move Sharpen, so it allows it to set up its attack and accuracy, which would then offset the accuracy drop from Hasty. Awesome. And it also gets Provoke. So this thing, super bulky. This thing super bulky and passive. This thing super bulky and passive. This thing super bulky and passive. Although they all have type advantage over this thing, so whatever. But Provoke is Taunt from Pokemon. It prevents you from using support moves, which completely shuts this thing down. Like, you're not running offensive moves on this thing. You have no offensive stats. So that thing gets shut down. The only thing is, this is going to be able to hit you with is like Nature's Force or Trip Root, but you're probably uninvested, so it's going to eat the hit anyway. And besides, you're probably just going to Raging, like you're going to Sharpen when it switches into it, if it does switch into it, but you're going to Sharpen, and then you're going to Raging Tackle, and then you're probably going to kill it, because it has no defense, although you will probably take majority of your health as a recoil, although that's kind of exaggerated. But yeah, this thing hits really hard. Like, this doesn't switch in, this doesn't switch in, this does, like, I think this could take a hit. I haven't done all the calcs yet, but this might be able to take a hit, because 142 defense, 90 HP. But yeah, oh wait, maybe this thing too. 99 HP, 124 defense. Maybe that thing. Oh, maybe these two can eat like 1 or 2 hits. But this thing is really threatening. Like, really threatening. It's ugly, but it's threatening. Okay, moving on to the crab. Ventation, I'm gonna assume is how you pronounce that. I got lucky here. I just caught a pure robust one when I was going for Dex, or the Lumipedia entry. Interesting. Anyway, it's water type, so it's a water type like Luminami, except it's not weak to Searing Steel that Seer Knight has, so it can actually switch in and take a hit. It has its signature move Geyser, which is Scald from Pokemon with 5 less power, and it has the same burn chance, 30%. I think. I hope. I would assume so, but yeah, it also has Scapegoat, which if in the presence of the right enemy, they're not going to do 25% health to you. So you just set up a Scapegoat, and then you're behind a thing, but it doesn't really do anything behind the Scapegoat. It doesn't have any setup or anything. Also, the moves you see are not most optimal. They're just I was just leveling up. So anyway, this thing is really bulky on the physical side, and then not at all on the special on the ranged side. Also, it's pretty its signature move is ranged, and it has 52 range attacks, so oof. So it's not going to be doing any kind of damage, but it will take hits. So pretty much all the bulky stuff has been really passive. Like I said, exploitable weaknesses everywhere. Like this thing, super slow, so even if it does come in, it's pretty much going to have to take it. Excuse me. Gonna have to take a hit before it can destroy your life. This thing sucks. This thing is super slow with no bulk. This thing has no offense. This thing has no melee defense. So yeah, everything has super exploitable weaknesses. So yeah. This thing denies physical hits. This thing denies special hits. I guess you have a core now. Cool. Add a fire type on it, get your fire grass water core, go. Speaking of fire types, here's a Eruptidon, the final form of Scalava that was teased before the update. So it's pure fire, so it also resists Searing Steel and Flaming Kick. But its abilities are like Scorching. Oh wait, speaking of abilities, I forgot to talk about his. He gets Protective Shell, makes you immune to critical hits, and his hidden ability is like Rough Skin from Pokemon, so they'll take damage whenever they make contact with you. Anyway, his abilities are Scorching Skin, Flame Body from Pokemon, Combustible, Flash Fire from Pokemon, and then its hidden ability, which I've recently learned, is Pyro, which makes your fire moves do 50% more damage for 50% more cost. So this would do, or this would boost the power by 50%, so this would become 135 before stab and cost 75 energy, and this would cost what, 105 before stab, and then what, you have to 22, 23, so like 68, 67, 68 energy. But so yeah, it turns him into a nuke when you consider this thing is ranged, and it has 122 range attack. Ooh. It's essentially giving this thing a fire type choice specs, or a fire type choice item, 50% boost. So its neutral damage is. I said Umbrat and Luxor had the highest neutral damage. Well, that's been taken over. This thing. Well, maybe not actually. This thing has the highest viable neutral damage. I should say that because you'll see in a second. So yeah, but its problem is it's also pretty slow, and yeah. It also, this is the only range move it gets, but it does get power focus, so raises range attack and physical attack. Although you have 72 physical attack, I don't see where you're using that. But it also gets a move called Burn Up, which raises special or range attack and also has a rapid spin clear effect where it gets rid of the hazards on your end, so like toxic barbs. That's it, because you melt Icicle Trap on your own. But yeah, it has some tools, and it will nuke whatever it doesn't resist it. So yeah, that's fun. Anyway, so here's an actually offensive Loomian, and then we have this thing, Crocaloa, or Crocaloa, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Pure Fire. So it's already in competition with that behemoth of a fire type. Anyway, oh yeah, by the way, you don't even have to run Pyro. If your team's weak to fire, you can run Combustible, and then you can switch on a fire type moves for free and then get the same boost as Pyro, so there you go. Anyway, this thing, its abilities are territorial, so that's kind of bad. Then it gets... Its hidden ability is what? Combustible. Oh yeah, its hidden ability is Flash Fire, so it's the same thing as that thing. And then its other ability, which I'll just skip to this thing because it actually has it, Volcanic. When it basically doubles the power of fire moves at the cost of whenever you use a fire move, you have to recharge the next turn. So when I said this was the highest neutral highest neutral damage in the game, I'm probably wrong, because this thing, its range attack isn't nearly as high, but it does have a pretty strong fire move, and then it could double its power. So there you go. But the problem with this thing is that you know that whole thing about no bulk? Yeah, the pattern continues. Except it's even slower. It's in fact the second slowest fully evolved thing in the game now. Second only to Floorhat. So yeah, it also has 125 energy for some reason. So yeah, it's slow, it's frail, and its viable, should I say, damage is very underwhelming, so like hard to skip on this one. Anyway, now we go to Volcaloa. Oh, by the way, this thing is the evolved form of Cradle. You find it in the volcano. You evolve it by trading it. And then here's Volcaloa, the other evolved form of Cradle. You evolve this by trading it for a Kabunga, and that would cause the Kabunga to evolve into Chartiki. Anyway, this thing's Fire Ancient. Woo! We got another Ancient type, boys. It has the same abilities as Crocaloa, whatever you want to call it. So, the only viable ability for it's Combustible. Its stats, it's pretty fast. It's actually really fast in comparison to everything in this game, and it has a solid 105 attack. So it's stats wise, although again, really freaking frail. If it's offensive, it's frail. If it's bulky, it's passive. That's the theme of this update, with the sole exception being this thing. Anyway. Yeah, it has... Oh, by the way, this is its best fire stab, 65 power. Oh boy. And Primal Slash. It has dual stab, so there you go. It has no way of setting up, I don't think. No, it has power focus, because it evolves from Cradle. So it can set up. There you go. And then there's Coconut Bomb, if you like. It's ranged, so you're not using it. So its dual stab is pretty good. So it'll be able to dish out some pretty decent hits. And yeah, it's the fastest thing at the new update. So it's pretty good. And then we move on to what is probably the most overhyped Loomian from this update. Not probably, definitely is. Obsidrugon, there we go. It's pure ancient, it's a dragon. Its stats look pretty good. They're actually pretty darn good. Don't get me wrong, these are good stats. 99 HP, 90 attack, 124 defense, and its obvious weakness is its lack of range defense. So yeah, it can take a physical hit, and it has an attack stat, and it actually has oh, I don't have it anymore, but it does get power focus, so it can set this up. So it could do decent damage, but these are its best offensive moves: Primal Slash and Raging Tackle. So it struggles because it's an ancient type, and it, you know, light metal and what other ancients, so Zulong, being this slow and this, you know, this prone to ranged hits gives it a lot of struggle, because spoiler alert, Zulong will be still really good this update, but yeah. Its abilities, Premonition, like here, bad. Sharp Edges, it's the same thing as Fentation's hidden ability. It's Rough Skin. And then its hidden ability is Borok's hidden ability, Resilience. Every time it takes a hit, its physical defense goes up, so that could be kind of cool. If you like take a physical hit, then set up a scapegoat, and then they can't break it the next turn because your defense went up too high. Like if you had Earthquake on this thing, like an MM for Earthquake, there you go, that would be pretty cool. Scapegoat, Power Focus, Primal Slash, Raging Tackle. Also this thing right here, Beast Slumber. It's basically a nerfed rest. You fall asleep for 3 turns, not 2 turns, and every turn you recover a third of your health and a fourth of your energy. But you also get defense boost, so maybe you'll survive to the end, but you're also doing absolutely nothing for those 3 turns, so have fun. If it had Sleep Talk, that would be also pretty cool. Beast Slumber, Sleep Talk, Primal Slash, and then something, Earthquake, and you could run an offensive, a fairly offensive one. But it doesn't get that, so yeah. Overall, its damage output's pretty low, because it doesn't ancient type, like, it's pretty good, but it's also really exploitable. Like, you have Valkyrie, you quad resist it, and Luxor can come in, and I don't know if sound moves are a thing, like the sound move effects, like Hyper Voice would go past substitute Pokemon. Does Raging Howl go through Scapegoat? If so, that destroys this even more. Anyway, I think it's overhyped. It can take a hit, but its damage output's kind of meh right now due to lack of coverage, so that's pretty much my initial thoughts on everything. I'll get to, doing all the nitty-gritty damage calculations to optimize TP spreads for everything. But now that I can record videos again, the how to use thing will come back once I start doing PvP. Because everybody wants me to learn everything about this so that they don't have to. But anyway, before I end off, my projected best Loomians of the update. This thing, this is going to be really good. It's going to be really hard to switch into. Tatab is going to remain really good because no physical. It's a balloon. It's physically defensive but weak to Tatab. This is pretty much the only thing that's going to take a hit from Tatab, from the new set of Loomians. So yeah, so Sedimars, Reptidon, Tatab, Avitross is going to be pretty good, simply because we have fire types, and fire types are weak to air types. just for initially, I think Luxor is going to be really good because everybody and their mother is going to be using this thing because it's a dragon. Look, guys, it's a dragon and it's black. It must be good. And then they're going to find out that, oh, it's not that good. So Luxor should be good initially. The fact that these two things get poison now is also going to boost up the usage of Terrafly and Swolder because those are the only two immune to poison, and as a bonus they have type advantage over these guys, so that's fun. Although the ungracious host is going to kind of dissuade them from using Parasitize because they would nuke their own health for doing it. And since it is likely to one-shot this thing, yeah, they're going to, like, this one, level 40, it would 155 by 275, so they take 77 damage for hitting it. And what? Oh, these are just randomly caught ones, so yeah, they don't want to take 77 damage. That's before this thing's even trained in HP. But anyway, those are just my initial thoughts. What? Oh geez, 26 freaking minutes of this. Anyway, I'm sorry for taking up so much of your time. Hope you guys enjoyed, and leave any questions you have for me in the comments below. Please stay away from TP spreads. I don't know yet. I'll figure them out for myself at least. Maybe I won't share them and I'll just destroy you all mercilessly. Anyway, have a good day.